Okay, out here, y'all, we are gonna do some seeding, and my parents are not here, but we gotta get to it. I have scissors because I need to cut the garlic, and that's what we're gonna do today. Cut the stems on the garlic and seed. It is getting late in the season, so I'll let you know what I'm planting and why I'm planting, and hopefully we don't have a start to winter super early this year. Who knows? You never know when you're growing food what the weather might do, but you try your best anyway, so let's do it. And here are all the boxes of seed. Yes, because I farmed for 4 years out on some land in Minnesota. Look at this garden, it's amazing. Look at it flourish. And I leased land, and so that's why I don't have my own plot, but that's why I have all those seeds, is because I had to grow a lot of food for other people. So we've had a totally weird season, and looks like they've had some critters munching here for sure. What critters have been munching? I am not sure. But, okay, y'all, next lesson that I gotta help my parents with is how to trellis tomatoes. They did trellis it to an extent, but trellis it and also trim it here. All right, there's some basil here. I know that was basil. Really small little basil. That's a bok choy. Wow, look at that bok choy. It is ginormous. But something has been eating. That's the collard greens. Something's been eating those collard greens. These are peppers. They are finally getting little tiny flowers. Wow, that's taken a while, isn't it? We have had such a bizarro season. That is a spaghetti squash. There's another spaghetti squash in there. See it? See it? There is a watermelon that will not come up. It is what day is it? August 23rd. Yeah, August 23rd. But those were planted super late, so who knows? My God, this is getting ginormous. Wow, look at that spaghetti squash in there. Can y'all see that one? Ooh, right there. Holy crap. My God! Okay, so they're going to have a lot of spaghetti squash. So we know that did good. Oh, wow, look at this one. Look at that. Look at how big that one is. Mini, mini spaghetti squashes. Okay, so we know those are plentiful. Oh my God, look at this. Wow. I have not been out here in a month or so. I've been away, and there's broccoli over there. I wonder if something's gotten to the broccoli. I want to get over there. Here's some of the, oh look, they got some runners coming off the strawberries. Some yellow squash there. Some things came up, some things didn't. Maybe some of the labeling was off. I don't know, but because, and I say that because we had, oh yeah, look at this. What was eating on there? Those tomatoes are coming. So finally tomatoes, which totally, I wonder if they got flea beetles or what? Oh, there's a broccoli head. But yeah, with the squash, it's like they had so many different varieties in one tray and a seeding tray. So this was a 50 cell, because 50 cell is what you do squash, cucumber, and it's winter and summer squash, so, and watermelon. But it's kind of like, oh, more corn. There's corn. And there's the okra. Here's okra right here. And there is a delicata squash, and there's an acorn. But I was saying that about maybe some things didn't get labeled correctly, because there have been no zucchini and no cucumber. And so I asked my mama last time when I was out here where those were, and she said she didn't know. And then she also said, well, maybe I forgot to seed those. So who knows? Or she said she might have done where she thought she planted all the different varieties, but because it was all in the same cell, she might have not done that. So we don't know. But you know, cucumbers have a totally different look, and I would show y'all that, but I don't know that there are any. I haven't discovered the different look of the squash family. But this, I'll show you this here, this okra. It is too big, okay? So it's too big. It's going to be super hard. Good thing I have the scissors. We're just going to cut it. We're just going to harvest it. But it's going to be really fibrous. It's not going to taste very well. So if you actually harvested it where it was maybe about right here, where my thumb is, right to the end. So picture that piece right there. It's going to be way more tender. And what I did when I was farming and growing things, I did a CSA and farmers market. But so I also did some canning just to save it for myself, you know, because I didn't have a cottage food license at the time, so I couldn't sell those canned goods. But I did just go ahead, and the ones that I didn't put in, that I missed when I was harvesting and they were too big, like this one, then I just went ahead and, oh, this thing is really sprawled out. So I just went ahead and here's the asparagus and a grasshopper. More asparagus. That is a grapevine. And those are fig trees, and they're gonna go in there, that bed where the garlic was. So yeah, I just did pickling okra, and with these big ones, and actually that turned out pretty good. So if you do harvest okra and it's bigger, you can certainly do pickling okra, and it actually makes it tender, and it was really tasty, actually. So just so you know that. Okay, and we got our raspberries here, and there's a elderberry and a goji berry at the end there. Oh, the end is actually let's go back over here. Elderberry here, and then this is the goji berry. Pretty sure. I have never grown those before, but they do grow in Minnesota. We're zone 5A, Minnesota, and I know they grow here, so I thought, why not give it a try? As well as the fig trees. I've never grown fig trees. Where I was leasing land, we could not do perennials. We could only do annuals because they only did year-by-year leases. And even though I leased for 4 years, I guess they just had too many people like come and go or something. I don't know. That's just how they did it, year by year. So, yeah. Okay, and then we're taking all these tarps off before the winter comes, of course. But we're going to seed in this bed right here. So let's get all the seeds out. Y'all, look at this. I was going to use this to show y'all how to lay a measuring tape out and then use it to seed the different whatever you got, you know, the spacing, but a mouse got in there and ate it up. See? So we can't use it. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, well, no measuring tape, so I'll just have to tell y'all the spacing without a visual of the tape. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. We'll know how to do it, but it's nice to have a visual with it. Okay, maybe next time. Okay, y'all, so I've got my seed that I want to do, and once you find a specific variety that you like, I mean, try different ones, but if you find one that you really like, just keep using it. I've tried some different varieties of carrots, and this one has done the best for me. And this one is Napoli, and I just got it from Johnny Seeds. Also, High Mowing is organic, certified organic, and they are a great spot to get seeds too. Barrage, we're not seeding that, but Barrage is going to go in the flower area where all the tarps are right now. And then this variety of broccoli has been really good, and it's Bell Star. So Bell Star for broccoli and carrots, Napoli is the varieties. And like I said, I've tried different ones. I hope I'm in this video. So I've tried different ones, and those are good varieties. I didn't have anymore, so I ordered those a while ago. This is my compilation of different greens. It's not quite ready. We're not quite in the season to do spinach yet, but I want to do some spinach out here. And what else do we have that I was gonna do now though was I was gonna do some, this is butter crunch lettuce. I was gonna do some lettuce and some, let's see if we have any radishes in here. I thought I had, yes, radishes in here. So I'm gonna do some radishes. These are Pink Beauty radishes, and this is a High Mowing seed company. I like them. They're good. So yeah, I mean, I was growing certified organic, or yep, I was certified organic, so I had to buy certified organic seed. Unfortunately, like, I feel like organic in a bigger sense has totally lost its value, because now you can use that, what's it called? That stuff. Appeal. You can use Appeal on certified organic, or certified organic has been sprayed with Appeal, whatever that stuff is, right? So we don't know what it contains, and it's totally legal, I guess, for them not to release that. So Appeal is some deal, Bill Gates, you know, crap. That's what I call it. I mean, to me, you totally don't need it. It says it's for food to last longer, but it's like we have enough food, so that doesn't prevent food waste. And also, if you're not telling us what's in our food, why should we buy it? And if it's not, the ingredients are being hidden from us, again, why should we buy it? Like, I don't want to buy anything that's a mystery, especially if it's supposed to be certified organic. Like, certified organic is not supposed to be a mystery. It's supposed to be plain and simple, clear, no chemicals. We're building the soil. We're using things that haven't been treated with chemicals to build the soil. This is not a man-made synthetic material we're using, right? This compost is made of food waste and of garden waste, and the garden waste was not sprayed with chemicals, so that's something to look out for, right? The straw that we used for the bed in the garlic to insulate the garlic over winter was not sprayed with anything, right? The wood chips chemicals were not used for the wood chips. A lot of wood chips have a lot of chemicals in them, so watch out for that. Anyways, onto the seeding, because I could go on a rant for longer and longer about how Appeal is really bad and organic is losing its value to me. If you say, like, I don't even know if I want to say, like, oh, I'm organic anymore, because then people will be like, oh, do you use that Appeal stuff then? I'll be like, no, of course not. That's not organic. So, it's a man-made thing. We don't need it. If you want to reduce food waste, buy directly from a local farmer. You can ask them all the questions you want. You can go visit their farm and help support your local food system, so that if anything does happen to the food supply, you are secure if you know that you are getting your food from a local grower who also does not use chemicals, so that you're not putting those in your body. Also, you're not harming the soil, the water system, all the insects, all the life that interacts with that space. I don't know if I'm in the video, so that's why my head is like this, and I need to check it. Okay. Okay, so a lot of people may use different tools. I'm going to use this tool. What's it called again? This is a garden hoe. I'm so bad with names, y'all. So the specifics escape me. And then this rake, we're just going to kind of rake over. So what I usually do is, if I don't have a seeder, I'm going to make rows. And the space, I look at the spacing that I have of each thing. We're gonna have the carrots on the outside here, then the broccoli, then the lettuce, and then the radish. And the reason that I'm doing this is I'm gonna do the broccoli a little bit closer to the carrots. Why? Because when carrots start out, and then I want the carrots and the lettuce underneath the big broccoli stems, and those, actually, the lettuce is gonna probably shoot off a lot sooner than the broccoli. Like, ideally I would have seeded the broccoli like 2 weeks ago, and then done the carrots, and then done the lettuce, but I didn't, so we're doing it all at the same time. And so if I know where I'm gonna do my broccoli, I want the broccoli like here, and I'm just making a little divot, and this is not super straight, but I can always go back and make it a little more straight, and it doesn't have to be super deep, right? And then after I do that all the way, well, I'm not going all the way. but then I usually brush it over like that, but we can do the rake. I usually use the same tool for the other task, but then I want the carrots here. And so depending on the seed and the depth that you want it, really you could just brush it over with your hand, because you don't want your seeds super deep. So let's see if it says on here. I don't even know if it does or not, but okay, the broccoli, 66 days to harvest. So if we count from today, I mean, it's a maybe if the broccoli comes. So that's why I'm really not going to do that much, because it's actually really late. If ideally, I would have started seeding broccoli in the greenhouse, like another seed tray, and that would have been a 50 seed tray, a cell, and I would have seeded that in July, around July 4th. And then I would have transplanted out here beginning of August. So that's like a month that it would have been in the greenhouse and then come out here. And then I would have harvested it by October. And so when I was farming, right, I had to plan everything out, so then you knew how to make the harvesting with not just the season here. I mean, like, different places, farmers markets go longer, right? Or your CSA goes longer according to what zone you're in, of course. So my zone, the farmers markets went to the second week of October. So they ended pretty early, because in Minnesota, it's like we don't know when the winter is going to hit. Or sometimes I was out there and, you know, it was end of October and it was 75 degrees. So you just never know. But also in October, it could totally snow. So we did hit, what year was that? I can't remember, but freezing temperatures mid-October, and I had to go out and just harvest everything, even though it wasn't the end of the season. And I was like, I hope everything lasts. But let me just show y'all this. So the seed, I'm gonna come closer. So the Bell Star broccoli, it's golden. I like it. So as y'all can see, look at the little divot here. It's really not deep at all. This is the carrot one. I want the carrot one even less in the ground than the broccoli. But really, they don't need to be, neither one should be in there very deep. So let's see if I can hold this camera and then see it at the same time. I have not had that task before. Oh, there's one. And then, okay, so if there was one here, we want to go 18 inches. So here would be probably a foot. So here is another 18. And we can just go ahead. And usually I always do 2. And one of them comes up at least. Okay, so you can see that one right there, the little golden. Let's just brush that over. Okay, and that's all you do. So really simple, but I'm gonna leave the rest here because I'm gonna make my other lines for the lettuce and the radish. And it's just good for me as I understand the spacing. So look here, this spacing is about 4 inches in between where the broccoli is and the carrots. And that's the same what I'm going to do on the other side here for the lettuce. And then I'm going to go, like 6 inches. This, after we brush this over, it's probably about 6 inches actually from line to line. This is just the in-between here is 4. So anyways, if we do 6 in between each of them, that's totally cool. What you're thinking about the broccoli is that if you've ever read the Square Foot Gardener book, it says you do a square foot for broccoli. And sure, yeah, square foot for broccoli. But if you're doing a light feeder like lettuce is on the other side of broccoli, I wouldn't worry so much. And then carrots, they're not taking the same nutrients as the broccoli is taking, so I wouldn't worry as much. And none of these are really specific companion planting. Radish is the same family as broccoli. That's why I don't want to do the radish next to the broccoli. I want to do it the last row on the other side. So that if you know the families that you're doing, give them a little space from one another because they are going to take the same nutrients. And then put different crops from different families in the rows in between if you're doing things from the same family, right? So, and that's just something that I've just been doing. I followed a companion planting guide, and then also just tried different things. Something that the companion planting, sometimes it's a hit or miss. So let's just switch. So sometimes the companion planting guides are hit or misses, and I'll tell you why. It's because sometimes your soil is a factor, your weather, just different things that not every time something can be like made up like 100%. You're gonna have, I'll give an example. I had tomatoes and I harvested all my carrots. I wanted to do a new planting of carrots. I'm like, oh my God, where am I gonna go? I know, I'm gonna go underneath, like right alongside of the tomatoes. And I read in the companion planting guide, it said that tomatoes stunt carrots. And I was like, well, I was growing on a really limited space and I really didn't have that much room to put the carrots somewhere else. So I was like, well, we're just gonna try it. And those turned out amazing. So no stunt issues, like no stubby little carrots. They were full size. I used Napoli's, I remember. and Napoli's super tasty. They're very crunchy and sweet and great storage carrots. They'll last a while. And so that's why I like them. They don't break easily. I've tried carrots that broke really easily in the soil when I was harvesting them, and no, it wasn't because the soil was super hard or super compacted. I mean, like where I was growing, it was compacted, but the Napoli didn't do that at all. So that's why I say you can try different ones. That was the Ya variety, and sometimes I try things because I like the name. I liked Ya. I thought it was fun. But I will not go back to Ya. All right, let's get seeding. And that's just like why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing. If you have tried different companion planting techniques, let us know what you have tried and worked, and what you have tried and that didn't work, because that's always good to know too. But as I say, it's not always 100% either way. If something's going to work or something not work just because it didn't work for someone else. In growing food, there are so many different factors that I don't even know. Been growing food for 11, 12, something like that years, but it's still like things I just learning all the time. Just learning all the time, which is what I like about it. And also what you go, all right, can't this just be universal or something? So let's get back to seeding. And I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I feel also sometimes I'm like, I hope I'm not missing something that y'all are curious about. So if you are curious about something and I didn't touch on it, just ask and I will do my best to answer. And I'm not, you know, as I say, I'm always learning something new. And just want to share with y'all so that maybe you can follow along and start growing your own food, because like what we said, organic in the store, it has that appeal stuff on it and they don't have to label it, and you don't know what that appeal stuff is, because that doesn't have to be disclosed. So it's like, oh my God, can't we just like not have to deal with this stuff? But we are dealing with it. So if you have an area to grow and you want to grow some stuff, I highly recommend it. And you'll know how good fresh food tastes if you're not buying from a local farmer, and you know that already. It's amazing. There's no comparison. I have really missed eating like carrots straight from the ground. It's one of my favorite things. So I'm looking forward to the carrots a lot. Okay, let's do this. Inches. 1, 2. Brush over. And I can always go out longer too. So. I'm doing a little bit longer. You know how we said square foot gardening for broccoli? So really 12 inches. 12 by 12, right? But I'm just doing 18 as a precaution, I guess. I don't know. Because we have the space too. And I just want to do 18. But you could totally do 12 by 12 and you'd be able to grow even more. So if we do 66 days out from now, 66 days out from now, ooh, I'm kind of moving this way a little bit. Let's say 6 days into August, then we've got September, October. So by the very end of October, we should be harvesting the broccoli. So stay tuned if we're doing that. Where is the carrots? Carrots are 58 days for the carrots. Carrots. Watch out, carrots. You want to fall out of the bag. Carrots. Carrots are kind of, they're sticklers to get them to germinate. Because they like a lot of moisture, but not too much moisture. And then usually if you're doing them in the springtime and you got a lot of weeds, like the weeds take over and come up way before the carrots would. But you can't hoe or use a, stirrup hoe or anything to get the weeds, because then you'll get the carrot tops if they're hidden in the weeds. So it's like a little tricky. Then I just always waited, and then I had way too many weeds. Some people have used like tarps to, when they'll seed the carrots and then they'll water the area. I've seen videos on this, and then I've never tried it though. And then I cover it with a tarp and then remove that tarp. And that's just to keep the ground moist, because if you keep it moist but not saturated in water, the carrots germinate faster. So anyway, carrot seed, little carrot seed. Hope you can see the seed. I want them to blow away. So carrot seeds, usually they don't need that much room. So I just kind of sprinkle them along. And I did this with when I was farming, and I had great success, so I'll just do the same. And like I said, if you don't have a seeder and you want to do it by hand, you just have to be aware of the spacing of each thing and be really careful, especially if you have something such as carrots that don't need that much room. So like 1 to 2 inches for spacing for carrots, but that's it. And I did not have a seeder. Before I decided that I was going to take a break from farming and look for my own land, it was on my list of things to buy that next year. But then I didn't farm the next year, so I didn't buy one. But I might as well. Might as well get it now. So that when I start back up, I have it. How much broccoli do we want to do? I'm going to go back in some. I did not want to go this far out. So the only reason I'm not going all the way is because it's kind of late seeding these. So, you know, I wonder, and this is something that I thought about, and I was like, I wonder if the carrots don't come up, if we just leave them out over winter, and then maybe they might be spring carrots. Like onions, how people do that with onions, they'll seed onions in the late fall, and then you have spring onions. That's why they're called spring onions, because they come up in the spring. So okay, let's see if I can hold the camera and do this, but I'm just lightly going over. Right? And just like if you're seeding in an open flat tray and you pinch the sides together like that, it's kind of the same idea, right? Just on a larger scale. Pink Beauty, these crack sometimes, so I haven't used a whole lot. Actually, that's why I have a lot of them left. And then here is lettuce, Butter Crunch. So these are really short time. These are days to maturity. Actually, that says 50 or 60. That's a long time for lettuce. And then the radish are usually about 26 days. This says 27 days. Okay. But a lot of times you can get lettuce really quick. That's why a lot of those people online, they're like, you gotta grow lettuce. You'll make the best cash. And you probably will, because it's the high turnover, low input, and people will pay more for a bag of lettuce than they will for a head of lettuce. That's really crooked. That's really crooked. Oh well, you know what we could do? I mean, this is not crooked. This the broccoli is went crooked here, because this one, that line is pretty good. But I don't know that we want a ton of radishes. It was just something that we could do that doesn't take a long time, and I thought the fib lettuce was really short too, but I guess not. Not this one anyways, this variety. But if you're doing, you know, a bag of lettuce and it's like a pound or something, and people, you gotta have space for that for sure. But you know, let's see, I did lettuce mix and I did baby kale mix. And those I did get a high turnover, but I did not have one of those really fast harvesters. And so it actually took forever to harvest, and it was not efficient for me because it was very long to harvest and took multiple cleanings, because I was harvesting with a knife, right, or scissors. I did both. And then washing and cleaning all the leaves on the lettuce or on the kale, it did take quite a while. And even though I was getting a higher price, I was like, this is way too time consuming for all the other stuff I had to do. So I just started doing, I did romaine, and that romaine was freaking delicious. It took a really long time to grow, but here, this is the lettuce. You can see the little lettuce seeds. Ooh, bless me. So we could do the same with that. We could do like, oh, my parents' neighbor is coming over. Like a bunch of seeds like this, and just see what happens if we get some that we're just gonna harvest. Or
how are you?
Just do a few. Hi, Karen.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So Karen, the neighbor, just brought some blueberry plants. 2 of them. Very nice. Here's one of them. Isn't that so awesome? That's really nice. There are good people out there, y'all. There are good people out there. Take care of each other, right? Take care of each other. Do some good things for yourself, for other people. Radish! Now let's see. Radish. Radish, we do want to space a little bit further apart. About 2 to 3 inches for radish. 2 to 3, 2 to 3. Get, if they touch each other, sometimes they don't like that. Like I've had radishes that they've touched each other and then they've gotten soggy. I mean, I don't know why. I really don't. They were, and then some that have touched each other and they don't get soggy. Like, I mean, like soggy, like rotten. And I have no idea why that happened. I asked a few other farmers too, and they didn't know either. So, don't know why that happened, but it is a possibility, I guess. Just like I said earlier, sometimes things happen, you're like, why did that happen this time? I've totally done that before, and I didn't have that result, you know? I'm just doing a few more in here because I think I can. I think I can. All right. Then I just flip over where I cut. We'll put those back in. Their designated labeled spot. You gotta put these in their spot too, but that's over there. Chop, baby, baby, chop, chop. And then we're just brushing over. We're just brushing over. Yeah, it's like, this is so disheartening that we gotta worry about buying anything these days, and like food wise, right? And that it's contaminated with something toxic. Like, our food is poison, great, you know? But if you grow your own food, or you buy from a local farmer that you know and trust, or you get to know, right? So I've been going to farmers markets since I haven't been growing my own food, and it's like, you can get to know people, and you can hear how they're doing, and you become invested in not just what they're doing, but like you have a more of an appreciation, I think, for your food than just going to a store and just grabbing something. Like, you're able to talk to the person that grew your food. And especially right now with us not knowing about trusting anything that comes from a store, that it's even more important to buy from a local farmer, know who that is. And if you start now, if you don't want to grow your own food, if you buy from a local farmer, they can keep running their business. And if something happens, or there's contamination from something in a store, oh, well, not your problem, because you didn't buy your meat from the store. You didn't buy your produce from the store. You didn't get your eggs, cheese, honey, maple syrup, bread. There's so many things out there that can be purchased at a farmer's market that not everyone is like this, no, but me personally, I am way more comfortable with buying from a local vendor that I can ask them questions than I would be just going out to a store. And that's becoming more and more apparent to me because of all these chemicals that are being used and put in everything. And if you don't think it's chemicals, but like if things are toxic that we're eating, or if things are making people have, food that we're ingesting is making us get disease, then to me it's chemicals and it's toxic, and it should never be allowed in food at all. So that's my little rant. I don't know, am I in this camera? That's my little rant. And so grow your own food. Hopefully this helped. I hope it helps a lot of people. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, when I was talking to Karen, where'd it go? I found 2 jalapenos. So very cool, very fun. Got jalapenos. Okay, see y'all next time, and hopefully then I'll be able to weigh out. I gotta get a scale, find a scale, weigh out the garlic, and then we'll have to break apart the cloves and see how many, taste the different ones. That'll be fun. And then what we're going to plant for in the fall and see if we did the calculation correctly. Slash also, if you're ever growing in a new space and you do a calculation and it worked in a different space but not in your new space, don't worry. Also, a lot of things have to do with, you know, your different soil type or the rain, if you don't have irrigation, or it could have to do with the makeup of your compost. So many different factors. Be easy on yourself when growing. It's a lot of fun. It's a learning process. I'm still learning. I've been growing for 11, 12, something like that years. You lose track of time. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time. This is my parents' garden, but I'm helping them. My name's Kristin. All right. See y'all. Oh my God. I almost forgot we gotta water. Of course, after you plant, seed, or transplant, you gotta water. So let's water the little seeds and send them some good vibes. I like to send them kind of like loving vibes and also kick-ass vibes. Because they're kind of kick-ass. The little seed becomes a plant that then becomes food. That's kind of kick-ass. It's on very low streamage here. That's okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Oh yeah, there we go. Even amount of water now. So even germination. That's what we want. We don't want sparse germination. Usually I count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, afterthought, y'all. So I just thought about this. Is you know, depending on where you are, your growing zone, things are going to be different with the time of year, right? But no matter what growing season that you are in, if you follow, you know, look on your seed packets of how long something takes from seed to harvest, and think about your first freeze. And if you go back from the first freeze, so say something takes 45 days, turn that water off. If something takes 45 days seed to harvest, and you've got 3 months, let's say 3 months before your first freeze, you're good, right? But and just, you know, track accordingly if you want to grow, especially multiple plantings. I should do a video on that, succession planting. And anyways, if you are wanting to grow quite a bit of your own food, you'll definitely be following succession planting. Maybe you don't even need like a video on that, but if you haven't tried it yet or something, maybe that would be helpful for me to do a video on that. But yeah, so even though like I'm in zone 5, it's cooled off here already. It's August 23rd, and It's currently 65 degrees. So 65 degrees at the end of August, you know, it's like, that's pretty chilly. But it usually warms up a little bit. You know, it usually cools off and then warms up and then cools off and then it just cools off. But anyways, if you keep track of that, you can follow this video too, because it doesn't necessarily have to do with the zone. It's just a matter of following your seed packet and knowing when your first frost date is. And if something takes, as I say, 45 days, you got like 3 months left, like you're totally good, you're fine. If you've got, so that's 90 days, right? 3 months, and 45 is half of that. But say you've got, you want to do some onions and those are 110 days, well, then that could be pushing it, right? If you wanted to plant some onions and you still had 3 months of good weather left, that could be pushing it. And definitely if you are doing something that really, really loves heat, like that sparks up with heat, like okra and tomatoes and peppers and watermelon, you're gonna have some trouble if you're doing that really close to the end, because it doesn't like cool weather. And so unlike if you're doing winter squash, those can tolerate cold a little better, but anything that really loves the heat, like those things that I mentioned, you're gonna have a little harder time with cutting close to a last frost date with those. So you definitely want to make sure with things that love the heat that you maximize the time that they are growing, that they're going to be growing in the heat of wherever your zone is, right? So here I just harvested a few jalapenos, but it's like, well, it's really late, and they should have been harvested starting in July, even in Minnesota here. So they're really late, but here it's been cloudy every single day, and I'm not even joking, like every single day it's cloudy, and I think they're effing with our weather, totally, because I see those chemtrails all the time. But anyways, so it's like clearing out right now, but there's clouds over here. There's clouds. I don't know if you can see them. There we go. And that was covering the whole sky almost all day today, and it was gray. And so that has had a huge factor on why things have taken so long this year. Also, we haven't had a huge amount of heat this year, and so that's why also it's taken a while. And also planted things a little bit later than normal, not like super late, but a little bit later. And then also it's been pretty rainy this whole season. So a lot of factors involved with why we just harvested the first jalapenos. But those 4 factors I just mentioned are also playing a part in why it's taking a while. So that's also things that you want to keep in mind for if you're doing later plantings of things. And that's why I only did a little bit of seeding over here, is because I was like, I'm not going to do the whole area because it's pretty late, and then it just kind of be a waste of seeds. So this is an experiment. We'll see what happens. I think the lettuce definitely will come up, the radish, but then I thought I saw something over there, but but the broccoli and carrots, you know, the carrots, it might be like you could still harvest them like later because they're root crops. So it could be that the carrots are going to be late, but the broccoli, although it is colder hardy, like it's okay in the cold, it still might be really pushing it for that to come up, because there's broccoli heads over here that are just coming up, and those were transplanted. I don't know when was it, June. And there's 1 broccoli head so far. So, but it has been the weirdest season. Like I said, too many clouds, too much rain, not enough heat, and later planting all had a factor here. But anyways, follow along. Hopefully this is helpful. And anything that I'm saying, you can break it down for your area. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully that's clear. That it doesn't have to be that you're in zone 5 like I am. But yeah, I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. And thanks for watching.